you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. My name is Martinique Brown, and I am your host. If this is your first time tuning into the show, make sure you go ahead and share this video right now. I'm going to pause for like 2 seconds so you can go ahead and share it. Also, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Martinique the Storyteller. Also, make sure you send me a friend request if we're not friends already on Facebook. I do have an Instagram account. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, which is Martinique the Storyteller as well. If you really like the shows that I produce, make sure that you also give me a financial gift. You know, even if you don't have anything to give, that's okay. You can still support my channel and my shows by sharing my videos, liking my videos, making comments on my videos as well. I'm so excited because on the show today, I actually have Treyonda Towns. Everybody, I want you guys to welcome Treyonda Towns on the show. She is our special author for today. She actually has a book out called The Mournings After, From Grief to Glory. And I'm so excited that she's on the show because I know that her testimony is really going to help a lot of people because she's actually going to be talking to us about the chapter in the book that she actually wrote just about the death of her daughter. And what is your daughter's name, Treyonda?
My daughter's name is Janae.
Janae, okay.
Yes.
So you guys, if you have any questions, make sure that you go ahead and type those questions in as well. And I just pray that you all just take some time and tune into this video. If you know someone that has lost a child or is in the grieving stages, make sure that you go ahead and share this video to their page as well. This book will really be able to help them in the grieving process. So Treyonda, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on the show for me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. So why did you decide to write your book, The Mournings After, From Grief to Glory?
Well, actually, the book, The Mournings After, is a project of ATK Publishing with Dr. Tuesday Tate. And I'm one of the authors of, I believe it's 9 of us. And I was invited by a collaborative partner of mine that we've done work in the community surrounding young people. And so when I got the invite to do it, I wasn't really sure what that would look like. It's something that I had already had on my heart to do, but how to put that on paper had been a challenge because it has been a journey. It has been a long journey over the years. And so my chapter to share was, surrounding that journey of mourning after losing my daughter to violence.
Definitely. So now, can you actually walk us through your chapter?
Okay, walk you through my chapter. Well, starting out with my chapter, I do share kind of like a song of poetry that describes my daughter, her journey, her fight, her plight, her heart. She was someone that always brought home the young people. My home was the respite place for young people that had been rejected, that had been thrown away, that did not have anywhere to go. And my daughter always had a heart to bring them home. She wanted to have them have that experience of knowing what it was like to be somewhere safe, to know what it was like to have someone to listen to them. And so that my chapter begins with that poem that I wrote out of a request for someone else that wanted to share the story of my daughter, who also had lost her daughter and her granddaughter to active violence. And then we go into just starting off that morning with that call, a call that a parent never expects to get concerning that child. My daughter went away just to follow up on her plan for housing and school and job with her family in a community that we had lived in for about 2 to 3 years. And so the assumption was that she would be safe. It was a college town, that she would be safe, that she would be able to manage on her own. It was time to be independent and not have mommy fix everything. But I had already worked hard to give her the tools to now to stand. And to receive that call that morning is where my whole world changed. Like, I mean, you just can't even describe what that call is like.
Hmm. So, was she in another state, or were you guys in the same city?
We're in the same state, but she was downstate Illinois at this time. I had moved back to Chicagoland area, um,
Okay.
and she had went back downstate Illinois, where we did have family there. Family had been there since they had went to college years ago and was stable. And so once again, the assumption was that she would be saved.
Hmm.
That this should not, there was nothing to worry
Right.
about. Yes.
So, what can an individual learn after they read your chapter specifically?
Well, the goal for my chapter, and I guess the goal for the book was to actually be transparent and to be examples of what that journey is. Of course, we say it and we talk it that death is a natural process, right? But when that process happens for us, are we really equipped? Are we really capable of walking through that process?
Hmm.
It gets healthy, right? There is grief, and then there is mourning. In the mourning, when we talk about the mourning with this work, this piece that was with this, the goal of the publisher was to um, help others understand that it's okay to mourn, but it's okay to mourn healthy. In after that, what that looks like. I think my chapter, I offer not only my story, but tools. I offer questions to pull out and to cause one to think about what that looks like. Each stages. Science and medicine talks about the stages of grief as though there is a formula and there is a specific process. But in reality, walking this journey, there is no exact formula, and those stages may come in any arrangement and not as that how they. And for me, I was totally numb, shut down, and my stages was delayed because there were
Hmm.
children left behind. And so the focus and importance was to make sure that they were safe and deny myself in that the ability and the natural process of mourning healthy.
Definitely. So, what type of person do you feel should actually read this book?
I believe everyone should read the book, not just the
Hmm.
one that have had that experience. It's not just for someone that lost someone, but all of us has lost someone at some capacity. Within this book, there's just not my chapter on how I lost a child, but there's different stories. If someone has lost a parent, someone has lost themselves in a relationship. We lose ourselves every day, especially once we become parents, because the focus is not on us anymore. Someone
Hmm.
lost a mate, and so reading this book, the goal is once again is to be a tool to help someone to walk with them through that journey, to let them know that they're not alone when it comes to loss and death, but to be accepting of it and how that could look, and to know that they could make it. They can make it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. That's good. So, what are some of the things that you actually had to do in order to help you with the grieving process?
Wow. For me, there was a lot of things I had to do. And when
Hmm.
I say had to, it was a matter of life and death just for myself. And so it did become a matter of what I had to do.
Hmm.
My goal was not to be in despair. right? Everyone saw me as, oh, she's so strong. Oh, she has this. She could do this. Some of the things I heard was that, oh, I need you to stay strong for me because I need to process this. And I feel that no one understood that at the end of the day, I was a mother. That
Mm-hmm.
was my child, as well as she left children. And yes, they had needs. And yes, she had siblings. Most important that they had needs, but at the same time, I was a mother,
Mm-hmm.
and it began to shut me down. It began to transfer into to my physical body, where my body was shutting down because I did not have time, or I could not, out of desperation of not giving away my power, which I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand. I had given away my power, but out of desperation of not giving away my power, um, I was eternalizing it until
Mm-hmm.
it was shutting me down. It was causing me harm in my physical body.
Why do you think people say things like that? Like, well, I need you to be strong, and because I feel like that just adds so much pressure to an individual. Like, why do I need to be strong during this time? Because I'm not at that stage to be strong, you
Hmm.
know? So if somebody is going through this, what what could I say to you as a parent that would help you? Or do you feel like I shouldn't say anything at all and just be there?
All of that, all of that um, is okay. Um, because during one of the most hurtful things for my family and her, when I say that, her siblings and her children, um, but most definitely myself and her siblings, was that those that didn't know what to do or how to say it did nothing at all. And
Mm-hmm.
that was so hurtful as well. But it
Mm-hmm.
also felt, well, and it still do feel as a form of disrespect, um, when people say, "Oh, you should be strong," or people will say, "Well, when did that happen?" or "How long has it been?" Um, and we find that when they see the time, that it becomes a lack of respect because they see it as time, and that, oh, you should be over it by now. You need to move
Mm-hmm.
on. But they need to
Okay.
understand, as a parent, time stop. That clock stopped right there, and every second is that same moment that you
Mm-hmm.
receive that call, and that desperation to have that one more opportunity to say hello, that one more opportunity to say, I got this, that one more opportunity to be, for me, was super mom. Mom
Mm-hmm.
fixed everything. To my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
I fixed everything. I made it all better, even though I did make it all better. But, to our children, we're their superheroes, and we make it all better. And this was the
Mm-hmm.
one time I couldn't make it better. I couldn't make it better.
Yeah. Now I know when I was taking the death, grief, and loss class, they were saying we should not ask you, oh, call me when you need something. I'm always here.
Hmm.
But I should more so just be intentional about calling you and say, okay, well, I'm just going to bring you something to eat, and just be proactive like that, as opposed to saying, okay, well, just give me a call whenever you need something. I'm always here. What
Yeah.
is your response to that? How do you feel like we should handle those situations?
In all fairness, that loss can be difficult for all parties involved, no matter how it's expressed. Everyone deals with loss and grief differently. Um, and for me, those times that someone did, and they were strangers that kicked in and brought a dish, a meal, that I didn't have to focus on preparing a meal or going into public to shop for groceries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because even though I stood strong, I was screaming inside, hey, how dare you go on with your life? Do you not see me? I'm broken. I lost
Mm-hmm.
my daughter. She's not here. I want her back. And so those things were very very important. And we talk about it today. If someone had just, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, where I could have just stopped and been honest with myself and been real about the turmoil I was going through with that level of loss. Someone went away just to look at an apartment and came back, and the next time you saw them was lying on the table, lifeless, and breathless.
Mm-hmm.
It changes your whole perspective, the whole trust of what you've known, um, around you all of your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, how do you feel about individuals bringing up her name? Would you rather them, you know, share memories and things like that? Or because I know that me personally, sometimes I shy away from mentioning that individual's name, because I feel that I don't want to, I don't want to put you back into that state of grieving or feeling of a loss. What is your recommendation? How do you feel?
Now I feel, I'm okay now. This year has been an amazing, space for me. Holidays, celebrations. I'm in a place of we celebrate. I love to hear her name.
Mhm.
I say her name more now than I ever have. I
That's good.
laugh and we tell stories. But there was, a cycle where, I avoided saying her name. I couldn't look at a picture, um, certain music or movies or things that reminded me of her was very challenging to watch, to listen to. Her children would sit in circle, and I would hear them talking about her or tell stories about her. Um, but for me, I couldn't do that. I wasn't ready, because it wasn't real. I was still living in a place of waiting for the knock on the door, waiting for the phone to ring and saying, "Hey, mom, I'm here," and we literally was living in a state of waiting.
Mhm.
The children were packed. We were, just waiting for her to come and everything would be okay, and that this was just a big dream.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So now I know that when I was talking to you earlier, via email, you were saying that um, there were layers that you actually mentioned in the process of healing. What are those layers that you're referring to?
Layers of, I guess we say, well, protection.
Mhm.
Um, there's, for me in my chapter, I broke it down. Even though it's a chapter, um, it's broken down in, um, accepting, um, I guess forgiving, um, the layer of guilt. If I had to just answer the call that night, um, if she had to just came home as her day planners talked about 3 days before, would she have been okay?
Mhm.
Um, Maybe if, you know um, every what the what ifs, what had happened, how could that have been different, all those different layers, that goes with just mourning in itself. Once again, like I said, science and medicine talks about stages, um, but it can come in any stage. There's no, they say there's a ABC and 1, 2, 3, but as humans, depending on where you are, and I think how you lose a loved one as well has something to do with it too. It plays a big part. Someone being sick and having an expectation of them one day having the relief of that suffering versus someone one day is just fine and they're happy and they're walking to the store or they're crossing the street, and then all
Mhm.
of a sudden they're no longer with us. It has a totally different impact on us as human beings
Mhm.
and our I guess our mind and our psyche and our emotions in itself.
Definitely.
Mhm.
So, how has this tragedy actually helped you move from grief to glory?
Mhm. Wow. Well, the grief part, once again, just accepting, just being stuck in that shock. It's unfortunate society today, just our culture in itself, that we're always um, given priority, certain areas last. Some cultures, car accident, a change in school, a whole incident within a community, the team is brought in. There are preventive measures in place just in case something may go wrong. We're here for you. We offer services. But for other cultures, the expectation that, oh, that's normal. So you're going to be okay. There was no consideration or assumption that this would have such a devastating impact on me. And maybe, just as a mother, because once again, the goal was just to make sure the family was okay, children were left behind, to make sure that they stayed whole and have some normality. That I was lost in that shuffle, and so being lost in that shuffle, just trying to function every day
Mhm.
was difficult. From the time I got them ready for school, there was days that I was just frozen there in that chair, just trying to figure out what happened.
Mhm.
But by the time that school bell rang at the end of the day, I had to shake it off and act like I was okay so that my family could stay intact, because we know also there are systems as well that would be a whole nother challenge. And so my fear was that my family would be torn apart even more by that system if I didn't provide their needs. But providing their needs, my own needs was lost until it was difficult to even go outside. There were times I would go outside to go to the corner to take a walk to the little corner store and could not remember where I was going, why I was going, or even how to get back. And
Mhm.
so I would have to call home to my 15-year-old daughter, and I would just be in tears. Say, hey, can you come and get me? And she's like, Mom, what are you talking about? I don't know how I got here. She said, Mom, backtrack. I'm like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know how I got here. And so to lose yourself in the midst of that, out of when and there's a place you've been independent and traveling this city since you were 13 and 14 years old to now being a full adult and don't know how to take a 2 minute step back to your starting point. It's very challenging.
Mhm.
It has you questioning your whole being of
Yeah.
who you are.
So,
So,
where does the glory part come in, with specifically the book pertaining to your chapter in the
mhm.
whole?
Well, the glory part comes in of being using what's around me. Standing and saying, "Hey, where do I play a part in this as society? How am I accountable with being responsible for society and young people being so hopeless that
Mhm.
they have no accountability for another's life?" And so, in that seeking that answer of keeping insanity and having answers for myself so that I can play a part in repairing that breach, I got out and I started being involved. Yes, I was involved before, but more of an advocate and just talking and things like that. But really being involved, listening to their stories, being a mouthpiece, connecting with community organizations, um, being a mouthpiece for them, those that were being thrown out of school, those that were homeless. We have a population, I mean, that numbers, I mean, we're talking thousands that were being thrown out of school. And so, with that, walking that trail with them, not in 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 a state of forgiveness, which is
Mhm.
very challenging. It could be very challenging for some, but for me, being able to grasp and to see someone else's brokenness and hurt so that not only I could be a catalyst of their own hope, but it brought me healing as well. So
Mhm.
in that brokenness, it began to restore my life. Whereas now I'm in a different place, where I am laughing. I can listen to the music. I can talk of the stories. I do
Mhm.
flash my pictures and I'm posing, and
Yeah.
all those things that I'd had lost, that was very well open on surface before,
Mhm.
had dried out for me. But now, the joy of telling stories about her, the joy of providing a safe space so that young people can heal after losing a sibling and a loved one because there was no resources for that. That's where the glory comes in. That, just the life, breathing. I was not breathing. Can you imagine functioning, just panting in a state of shock, into one day to wake up and to actually inhale and
Mhm.
exhale to a point where you're thriving again, with joy and looking forward to the next day,
Yeah.
is the glory that's spoken of on my behalf.
Okay. Okay. And I know that you mentioned that you actually have reflection questions in your chapter. Why did you feel that that was necessary to offer readers?
Because in that, as we, once again, we're naturally created with that flight, fight, and fright and flee, um, I guess, response within us. Um, it's so needed that sometimes we shut down, and so I was stuck in my frozen. Not only just the flight, but I was stuck in a frozen state, and so with that, I was numb. And so those questions sometimes just will cause us to reflect back, and nothing difficult, just, cause someone to, um, think about it, to trigger those emotions that we were avoiding so that we could walk through it. We can process, we can be honest about, oh, that I am hurting. That doesn't feel good. I am sad. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm real angry right now. I need to find a
Mhm.
way to deal with this. And that we're not leaking and seeping, but that we're actually allowing ourselves to be open and allowing the air of others' love and patience and understanding to bring us healing that we
Mhm.
need. Because trauma is real. It's really real, and that's something we don't talk about in our culture. Because
Mhm.
throughout history, it was that what happened here stayed here, and that our resilience became a false front, and it was more accepting to deal with it with, being addicted to alcohol, to drugs, to sexual promiscuity, becoming violent and products of predation like others, versus talking about it, versus being transparent with it, versus working through it and say, hey, ouch, this hurts. Ouch. I'm not feeling good today. Ouch. Something's wrong with me. Ouch. I
Mhm.
can't get out of this bed. I've been laying in this bed for 5 days now. I have not opened the curtains. No one has heard from me. Um, I don't want to shower. I don't want to eat. Hello, can someone hear me? Versus getting up and we're walking time bomb. Or,
Mhm.
as we have witnessed and we are witnessing every day, suicide amongst our culture have reached astronomical numbers like never before, and yet no one is still talking about it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, can you tell our viewers a little bit more about Glory Cloud Enterprises Incorporated and the services that you actually provide?
Well, Glory Cloud Enterprises Incorporated is a consortium of small businesses. Once
Mhm.
again, we talk often about it takes a village. And so it kind of brings back that sense of it takes a village to rebuild, um, at every level. It is, a byproduct of Genevieve Towns Foundation, which is in honor of my daughter, which is the nonprofit side
Okay.
of this work. And so the Glory Cloud Enterprises, once again, it was a vision for Glory Cloud Enterprises in 2000, even before
Okay.
this happened, and just did not understand what that would look like, right? It was to bring about just that one stop, holistic avenue for the young parent, the single parent, the young person in the community. But this work has turned into a consortium of partnerships that will bring together um, the holistic needs so that one could be whole again, whether it's spiritual, education, workshops. I guess equipping and empowering, but also once again resources that's going to ignite that individual to want to live again, to dream again, and how to do that entrepreneurship. And so that's what just a piece of what Glory Cloud Enterprise is about. It's talking about just that rain,
Hmm.
just that mist of fresh air. As you know, just like a plant. Our home was full of plants, and every day she walked through with that spray bottle, and she missed those plants to give them that dew of life that caused them to sprout. And so that's what our goal is with the work of Glory Cloud Enterprises.
So now, can someone actually utilize your service or your um, what you provide if they live in a different state?
Most definitely. Because the great part about being a consortium is that we are made up of partnerships and collaborations from all over. So um, depending on the need, it may be local or it may be out of state or they may be out of state. And so
Hmm.
the goal is to continue to spread that net that we are available to offer someone that resource, no matter where they are, in that partnership.
And guys, I just want to let you all know that all of Treyonda's information is actually in the description box. So if you're interested in purchasing her book, The Mornings After From Grief to Glory, her PayPal link is actually in the description box, as well as all of her contact information, like her Instagram, her Facebook, and her email address is also listed there. So, if you can tell us again specifically about Genevieve Towns Foundation, what is the purpose and goal of that foundation?
The purpose and goal of Genevieve Towns Foundation is to provide a safe space for
Mhm.
siblings and peers that have lost a loved one to violence, a place to heal without feeling guilty, without feeling ashamed. Everyone processes loss and grief and mourning differently. And so our goal is to provide that space where it could be done through music. It could be done through writing, through drawing. Some are creative. They need to use their hands to release the stress of pain and sorrow, and to provide that space. Some may just want to sit there,
Mhm.
but yet allowing them to be able to express that, allowing them a place to understand what's happening to them, equipping them with tools to be able to go back out into society and to be able to have some sort of normalcy with what has happened to them. And take that, not to just take those things, their story, and put it on the shelf, but now
Mhm.
how could we use that to be a masterpiece for someone else to look at and to be drawn and to be encouraged to heal through that. And so entrepreneurship is a part of that as well.
Mhm.
That, how to make make a profit out of that pain as well, that someone else could live. And
Mhm.
that's our goal for Genevieve Towns Foundation, because it's never imagined that our children leave before us. And so we know now that we're in an epidemic of young people lives being ended in numbers unexplainable. So when all of this started, there was pretty much no resources for families that lost children to violence. And so they have some resources now, but it's more adult and parent focused. And I've been in places where the adults are getting grooved, they're talking, and their needs are being met, and all the young people's siblings are sitting on the side trying to figure out what to do with what they're dealing with every day. And so our goal was to be the beginning of breaking that cycle of leaving the siblings out and their peers after experience such horror, um, when, in daily, like every 3 minutes or every minute we hear of someone 24 and younger life is being ended through violence.
So now I know that one of the ways an individual can purchase your book is through PayPal. How much is the book for them to input into that PayPal link?
The cost of the book is $21.95, and that's with shipping. Because the cost of the shipping, of course. But during this, our wonderful viewers that would be interested and is drawn to support and to read further into the work, we will be offering a discount. We will be offering to cover the shipping for the book, and so that kind of takes away costs as well.
So if they're watching this episode and they would like to purchase the book, how much do you want them to input that excludes the shipping in it?
$16.95.
$16.95. Okay, guys, you hear that? $16.95. You get it from once you get it from PayPal. How can an individual donate to your foundation?
Individuals can donate through the foundation by visiting the page. For one, our Facebook page, the Genevieve Towns Foundation page. There is a donation space there. Also, there is a link through a PayPal donation, and there's also a memorial page. We also have a website at www.genevietowns.org that they can visit on there, and not only can you donate financially, which most definitely would support the cost of supplies and materials. And of course, young people love to eat, and so it's not always financial. And there's other needs as well. Time, volunteering, bring your skills. Most definitely, your skills, your time, your heart, your patience is most definitely welcome. But through that website, there are links there that others could connect, and we could follow up and reach out to you and see what's best for an individual to donate and support the work.
Definitely. So now, what city and state are you in if people want to volunteer?
Currently, we're in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, everyone. Again, all of Treyonda's information is in the description box. Treyonda, I just thank you so much for your openness and your transparency, and really just having that boldness to just share your story so that other individuals can really just have a resource to learn how to heal when this type of tragedy affects not only themselves, but as well as their family members. And again, just the foundation that you've created, because you did see a need for kids and their siblings specifically to help them with the grieving process as well. So we just really just thank you for, again, just sharing your story and just being open and honest with us during this time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your interest in knowing further of what that's like. Once again, most people, it is a taboo conversation. And
Mhm.
so most, it's difficult how to have those conversations. So most don't have that conversation. So it becomes an elephant in the room, even within
Mhm.
the family. And I think in this time we need to push past that and be okay and and be accepting with healing and healing healthy so that lives and generations and the legacies of those that we have lost can continue. And so that's another one of the goals at this time is that her children have a legacy of who she was and in the heart of who she was
Mhm.
could continue and that they have something to build and that she's not forgotten. She's not
Definitely.
forgotten.
Definitely. Thank you again so much, Treyonda. And you guys, I just thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. Treyonda's actually going to be on another show because she actually wrote another book. So I'm excited for her to be on that show again. And so make sure that's why you have to go ahead and send me a friend request so you can be notified of when I have guests on my shows as well. Make sure that you share this page. LaKeesha, you just been sharing away, and I just appreciate you. Thank you so much for linking other individuals that can really just benefit from watching this episode. Nanny, we give you a shout out as well. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you all for tuning in. And really just listening to Treyonda's story, just keeping her daughter's legacy alive with the foundation. Again, all of Treyonda's information is in the description box. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Martinique the Storyteller, as well as follow me on Instagram. If you really enjoy the shows that I'm producing, make sure that you go ahead and click that link just to give a financial gift. No gift is too small, y'all. Don't think that your $5 won't help because it will. I have a GoFundMe page as well. And so I just pray that you all have a blessed night. Be safe. This will probably be my last show before the holidays. So I hope that you all have a blessed Christmas, a safe new year, and just be ready for 2019 because it's going to be great, just like 2018 is great for us now. You all take care of yourself, be blessed, and have a great night. Bye-bye.